start to her business. Isn't that awesome? Way to go. Okay, let's see. Someone else we want to maybe share. Sarah Richardson says she invited someone to the opportunity event on Sunday, and she's thinking about buying a kit too. Whoop, whoop.
Yay.
Yay, Sarah. Love it. You guys are crushing it. Lisa, she said her party bookings are great, and she's going to keep in contact with her contacts, but she's still working on that recruiting. Keep it up, Lisa. Anyone else that that has joined us? Anyone else want to share any successes they've just had in our last chat?
I've invited somebody too for Sunday, and she's really thinking about becoming a consultant as well.
Get it, girl.
And she's hosting a party the end of this month too. So whoop whoop.
Awesome. Just keep following up. You know, send them a reminder for the opportunity event. Encourage them during it. You know, be on there. Even though there's other directors that are on there commenting, make sure you're on there too. And when you see her post, you know, comment along with it, interact and have fun. And when it's over with, like, how fun was that? What do you think? You know, because they just want to know that you're there for them, and of course it's okay if they're a little scared. That's nothing worthwhile isn't a little scary, right? So, whoop, you guys got this. Okay, thanks Tiffany for sharing. Anyone else want to share?
I've had two $2,000 plus parties this month.
Yay.
Get it, Holly? Can you say free for all?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so excited by Christmas when all those fall products come. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Let's see. I'm gonna flip through and see who all is on with us. Yeah, you guys. Look at all of your bright and shiny faces. Oh, look, Amy's on. Amy, thank you for joining us.
Oh, and look,
sweet,
Amy's
sweet
at
Amy.
the beach.
I know. Well,
Cold
bless
there,
her heart.
Amy?
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of
That's my
like,
happy
hey, girl. Hey, girl, can you get dressed real fast? I really super appreciate Amy, because honestly, I'm not going to lie, Amy, you popped in my mind several times for this next segment. And when we kind of do one of these, we also like to do what we call a timely testimonial. We want to reach out to someone who has been kind of working these booking and recruiting tips and taking the training advice and had some success with it. And for those of you that maybe don't know Amy is a brand new director in our organization. So give it up for Amy. Yay! I invited Amy to jump on this call real quick. Just wanted her to kind of share her perspective. Sometimes you can look at people like Melody or the other directors that are on here doing these trainings and go, really, am I ever gonna, does that really work for people? Does that really? So I want you to hear it from Amy, someone who jumped in, gave it a shot, and made it happen. So Amy, if you just want to just share a little bit about you real quick and the success you've had, I'd love for you just to take a second to do that.
Okay. Well, I started at the beginning of January and had zero interest in becoming a director, none at all. I didn't think I was ready to have consultants that ask me questions because I didn't know the answers. So that's my biggest regret, is I did not start sooner.
Amen.
So, but I started with Charlene. She just all of a sudden decided I was ready, and next thing I know, she was signed up under me, and I'm like, well, okay, here we go. And after that, I started with the host coaching and letting everybody know, showing them that opportunity that was there. And with that, I started having more people joining, and I was sending them to the opportunity. What is it called, Kayla?
Yeah, opportunity event. You got it, girl.
Yeah, opportunity event. And they really, people started coming along. And right now I have 6 directly under me, and I have another that is signed up under another director. So we have 7 on our team, and it's called Unlimited. We named it Unlimited on purpose because our team, we can go as high as we want to go. All of our goals may be different, but we can get to those goals together. And we really have a good time with each other, and just setting goals together, and let's, supporting each other more than anything else. And this is, like she said, this is my first month as director, so I'm kind of new at this still, but enjoying it so far.
I love it. And that's the thing too is, and I know you've heard probably Melody tell you this and the other amazing directors that you have as mentors, but even though now you hold that amazing title that you worked so hard to earn, it's still the same thing. You're still working to submit the same amount of parties. You're still looking to add new recruits, because the worst thing you could do is say, I'm going to take a step back and I'm just going to be a director now, and I'm just going to support my new people, because they're going to come and go. They're going to decide if they want to work their business or not, and that's okay. And you keep working it and adding new people, and it's the exact same thing. So you're doing exactly what you need to be doing, and
that's really true. I'm like, I just keep going through, and I'm like encouraging the consultants under me. Hey, look, you can do this too. Don't be afraid. I'm here. I'm here to help too. So don't worry about it. We can all do this together. And everyone's been great, and we just really enjoy it more than anything else.
I love it. And what sticks out to me, what you shared, is that you embraced the unknown. Like you said, I don't have all the answers. I don't know all of the I'm not the all-knowing, but that's okay. We're going to do this together. And that's okay to say too. People love that honesty, and they love that you're willing to be honest and work with them and grow together. And I think that's kudos to you, girl. Thank you so much for jumping on. Does anyone have any quick questions for Amy before we let her bow out? Looking to see if anyone's awesome. Okay. If anyone thinks, oh, go ahead.
What was your biggest, I guess, or what would be your biggest recruiting tip, or like fun fact, or whatever you want to call it?
Really just sharing the opportunity. Just from the beginning, going ahead and letting people know, hey, look, you've got this coupon you can use, and just starting to mention it from the beginning of the party. Not a push. I don't push. I'm just putting that little plug in their head. And hey, watch what we did. Watch how fun this is. And having fun while you're doing these parties is really key. Because if they see you having fun, then they want to have fun. And they'll ask me, oh, well, what is it like? And I said, well, I'm like a Kardashian. I have a big behind, and I get to party for a living.
I'm feeling that. I don't have a big behind, but I'm really loving that line. So.
Well, that's what the Kardashians get to party for a living. So do I.
Love it. Is there a Kardashian that doesn't wear a bra and has no bottom? Because that would be me. So I'll take that job. That Kardashian job I will take.
I don't think any of them wear a bra, though.
That's probably, well, I don't have the gifts upstairs like they do, so.
Neither do they.
Awesome. Anyone else have any quick questions for Amy?
What do you do if the party is kind of a bust and you're still trying to say, hey, I want you to be a consultant, but your party has no sales?
Of course, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult. But with that, people still understand that, hey, they kind of go into it. I think some people know, like, hey, my party's not going to be the greatest because I don't have that many friends. And so they're not really surprised that their party is, like, not huge. But with it, you continue to work it and say, hey, look, I'm having 3 other parties this week. And that's okay. You're going to have weeks that aren't good, and that's all right. We're going to keep, you just keep plugging on along and let them know that one bad party doesn't have to bust you. And that includes theirs. Because
honesty.
Yeah, I'm just honest with folks. I'm like, this is, you may have a sucky party. That's okay. You just learn from it and carry on.
And I'll add
and what's
to that.
great too is,
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're probably gonna say the same thing I was, is that there's still usually a couple of active people in that party. And if you just really continue to work that party and get bookings from it, then I kind of fall back on that. You know, your sales might not be super high because you have so many of your friends that are really wanting to host their own party. How amazing is that to get you started strong? So just looking for that positive, that silver lining in the situation. So that's kind of where I always try and find that little bit of good to go with and what motivates them in the first place, and see how we can help them. But Melody's probably got some great tips as well.
Well, I was just going to say that something I typically will add to that is that sometimes our friends and family are not the most supportive people for our business, just being honest. And sometimes once you get past those, it's like those people that you never even thought would have a party are your most, ones that'll be like, yeah, I'll have a party. You're like, oh, what? I never even thought about you having a party. And also, I always keep reference, and I know if Melissa Gooden was on here, she would also let you all know this, but she came from a party that didn't qualify, and she's a senior director now. So, it does not seal your fate of your success as a consultant. So I just let them know, hey, there are people on this team that their parties weren't successful either. And, they're senior directors now in this business. So just because their party wasn't a success is not necessarily mean that they cannot still have success in this business. So that's usually what I'll say to them.
Okay.
Awesome. That's a great question. Okay, we've got 2 minutes left until we move on to the next topic. Any last kudos or questions for the amazing Amy? Okay, sweet. Amy, thank you so much for being super flexible. Like I said, 25 pretend tickets coming your way, for sticking your neck out and sharing with us. We super appreciate it. So thank you so much. Big round of applause. Whoop, whoop. Thank you, Amy. Sorry, that's the teacher in me. For those of you that don't know me, I am Kayla Ford. I am a senior director in our organization, and I am here tonight to jump in, and we're going to do our week 2 of our Fast Track to Success Director Bound. And for those of you that don't know, I moved out into the boonies a couple months ago. No idea that we pretty much don't have internet. So, every day is a surprise. We're going to try something. Melody, if you've got it geared up, we'll try it that way and see how it goes. I'm trying to get the PowerPoint for tonight to load. It's spinning. It's this, the spinning of death is how I call it, because my internet is so slow. So we're going to see if actually Melody can share her screen. I sent her the PowerPoint, and I'll just kind of talk and give you when we're ready for the next page, and we'll see how that goes. If she can't, I can try and open it on my end. But while she's working to get that open, I'll go ahead and kind of give you just a brief rundown of what to expect from this training. And so we've got a few topics we're going to touch on our agenda. Hope you can't hear that. Go show Daddy the surprise. Mommy's on a call. Okay. Well, our agenda for tonight. So we already got started on our success stories. Again, if you have anything you want to share, feel free to post that in the chat here, or post it in the party on the group. And thanks to the amazing Amy that we had our timely testimonial. Then we're going to dive into what we call our mindset moment, where we really work on getting our mind set and prepared for the successes ahead of us. And then we're going to dive into 2 different training topics. The first training topic is going to be getting bookings at parties. And I'm going to give that a second to load. Hope you guys can still hear me. And training topic number 2 is going to be recruiting at parties. We'll finish with our call to action and a Q&A at the end. Oh, that's perfect, Mel. That's the exact page to be on. There you go. Okay, so that kind of gives you a quick rundown. So we'll go ahead and dive in. If you will click down 3 spots, Miss Melody. Right there, perfect. So for our mindset moment today, it is called take action, okay? Because here's how this goes, all right? Every single one of you that are in this group tonight, you have committed, you have said you want to promote to director, you have set a target date to hit that promotion. And the truth is, as we all know in life, sometimes we absolutely hit our goals head on the date we set, and it's beautiful. Other times, sometimes we miss that target a little bit, right? That's just part of life, okay? Here's the deal though. I want you to each think about what might hold you back from achieving the goal you put in front of yourself, okay? Why, Kayla, on earth would you want us to think about that? Because here, I mean, exactly like this sticky note says, okay? No one has it all together. And if you are already visualizing what road bump, what speed bumps might come down the road, you're going to be prepared when those happen, and you're not going to get derailed. You're going to be okay, because we all have speed bumps. Melody Harper, the rock star, has speed bumps. It totally happens. But the difference is when you can say, I can learn from this and move on and rock it. Okay? Hit that next slide for me, Miss Melody. There really is only one thing that holds people back from having the success that they're looking for. Okay? It's a 4-letter word. It's on the screen. Fear. Fear, y'all. What does fear stand for, though? Okay? What does that mean? Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. Okay? Just call it what it is. Okay? Most fear is self-created and can easily become self-limiting. We're often under the impression that things outside of us cause our fear, when in reality, most of it begins with our own thoughts and beliefs. So often we think that the outside forces are what's going to make us crumble, but really it's the focus, it's what our own minds drift to, okay? Here's the best part, guys. Every single one of you, if you can hear me, point to yourself, because that's just the teacher in me. I got to know that you're really thinking about this. You can change the narrative of fear when you realize the source is in your own mind. You 100% can control that fear, okay? So we're going to take action. Taking action is the cure for fear. So we're going to do a quick little activity to help us overcome our fears, okay? It's up on the board. Get out a piece of paper. I know you've got your paper and your pencil in front of you. I always feel like writing down things is the key to success. It helps keep us accountable, and it also helps us retain information. So go ahead and write down one thing that you fear as it relates to promoting to director. Okay? Let's go ahead and write that down. Maybe some of you already have it in your mind. Maybe some of you are, you're really thinking about it right now. But I want you to take that statement and we're going to reframe it, okay? I went ahead and posted an example up on the board because I'm a visual person. I need to see those. So let's say your fear is, you have a fear of not being able to recruit the 5 team members you need to promote to director. So instead of letting that consume you and stress you out and make you think you're not going to hit your goals because, by golly, it's the 16th of the month, how is it going to happen? Deep breath, okay? Deep breath. And I want you to rephrase it and say, when I ask enough people, I will easily recruit 5 new team members. See? See how you can just rephrase that? And it can really change the viewpoint. It can completely change the narrative of what your fear is. Okay? Go ahead and click the next one, Miss Melody. See if she's changed it. Oh yeah, there we go. My screen's a little slow. Sorry about that. Okay. I want to see if there are 2 of you that wouldn't mind maybe sharing what one of your current fears are. Okay. Would anyone mind coming on and sharing maybe what one of their fears were that they wrote down? 25 bonus tickets for being brave and sharing a fear. Maybe this isn't your fear. Maybe it's a fear that you feel like someone else might have. for promoting to director?
I have a fear.
I have one. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. You can each have a turn. I couldn't see who was first, so someone be brave.
It doesn't matter. She can go ahead. She can go first.
Okay.
Yes, of course, I have a fear of not being able to get those 5 new members, but my other fear is that I'm not going to have enough time to spend on this, because I am a teacher too. I have 2 kids that are in 2 different sports, and right now I'm having enough time, but I'm afraid if I start getting new team members that, you know, all my time is going to be spent to Pamper Chef and not enough to my family. So that is a fear of mine.
I gotcha. And were you able to think of how, I mean, that is very valid, by the way. So thank you for feeling brave enough to share it. Had you had time to kind of reframe that statement and reframe the narrative? It's okay if you haven't. That's okay. And this is up to you and your mindset. I'll throw out an example that comes to my mind. And of course, I want you to phrase it to what fits for you. But what could come to mind is when I promote to director, when I have the consistency in my schedule to promote to director, I will schedule time on my calendar to make sure that my family needs and my business needs are still met. However whatever you feel like that fear is behind, whether it's specific activities you're afraid you won't have time for, or if it's knowledge-based, wherever it comes from, make that the basis of how you flip that narrative around into a positive affirmation. Okay? I love you for sharing. Thank you for that. Okay. Would anyone else? I know someone else had chimed in that they were willing to share. Would you be able to come back on and share?
I'm a new one. I just signed up, so I haven't really got my fear is kind of what you were saying. I'm not a very outgoing person, so finding it in myself to talk to people to get them to join, to me, is scary. Like Kimberly was saying, it's like almost panic scary. And that's what I'm afraid of, is I'm not going to go anywhere because I don't approach people. Because they say no and I leave it at that, and I don't keep going on and following up with them.
Gotcha. And I can totally relate to that. And you know, it's you might have heard me or heard someone on our team say this. I kind of equate it to, I heard this was something I think Carol Reduce shared a while ago, and she said, it's like when someone comes by at a restaurant and they've got that delicious looking dessert tray, right? Because they make it look super good every time. And they come by and they say, you know, hey, are you interested in finishing off your dinner tonight with some dessert? Heck yeah, who would not want some dessert off of that tray, right? Hello. But does every single person at the restaurant say yes to the dessert tray? No. Maybe it's not the right time for them. Maybe they didn't bring enough money to pay for dessert. Maybe they're on a special diet, or they need to get out of that dinner quick and get on to their next thing. They might say no, thank you. Does that dessert tray lady person take that personally? Like, oh, you broke my heart. You didn't eat my desserts. They let it roll off because they know the dessert might not be for everyone. They know how great the dessert is, right? And they're just going to continue sharing that delicious dessert tray until it fits someone's needs. So I have to tell myself that example quite often, because I have to remember that it's not that they're saying no to me. It's that they're saying no to dessert right now, or they're saying no to supersizing their fries at McDonald's. And remember too that Pampered Chef is a table for everyone. And the fact that you have a different personality than the Joe Schmo next to you, that's a great thing. That's you saying that, look, doesn't matter if you are an introvert or an extrovert or somewhere in the middle, we have a spot at the table for you. And you can make this business work because I'm trying to make the business work. So know that that all personality types, we all benefit from having different perspectives and different personalities. So Find the way that the business works for you. Find a way for it to be comfortable for you. And that's where you're going to find your confidence. Okay? Have you had a chance to kind of think about how you would take your fear and phrase it into your affirmation sentence?
No, not really. I mean,
Okay.
other than like when I promote, I mean, I'm not real good with that.
Oh, no, that's what we're here for, right? And if anyone else has any examples that they would be willing to type out in the chat for these fears, please share, because I'm not the only one that I don't come up with great ideas. I'll just say it that way. But one way I would think would be when I offer the business opportunity to enough people, I will gain confidence in myself to share the business. Or when I practice how I will share the business opportunity, then I will feel confident enough to offer it to other people. Whatever you feel like is that piece that might be holding you back. Just think about that. Ask yourself why. What's the worst that can happen? Like, what's the absolute worst that can happen if I take these tips and run with them and try them? And what's the best thing that could happen if I give it a try and give it a shot? And say, is it worth it? And is it worth trying it and maybe having the worst case scenario to then maybe also have the chance to get the best case scenario, and just see which one weighs out. And if you ever have any other questions or follow-up, or hey, how do I get over this fear? Reach out to any of us, guys. Any of you on here that have any fears, we would love to work with you to kind of help set your mindset and really focus on turning that into something you can overcome. Okay? Thank you guys for sharing. I love that. Now you see on the screen here, that next step is really that positive affirmation part, okay? That's when you're repeating that to yourself and you're describing a specific positive outcome. We do not hear positive affirmations enough in our lives. We don't. We really, truly don't. And that can start with you. When you start to build yourself up, you're able to build others up as well. And that's when the blessing truly comes, is when you have the ability to share affirmations with other people and bless their lives. So really be thinking about that. Be thinking about maybe something that could be a positive outcome for you. Again, flipping those fears into a positive. And even if it's not your personal fear, but brainstorming that and kind of how we can flip that and share that, okay? And that's kind of where we talk about what that can be holding us back from taking action, and really how flipping that, and not only flipping it, but writing it down, guys. So you see right here on the screen is an example, and it says and fill in the blank. So let's say it's July 1st, and I am the director of a strong and growing team that I'm proud to lead. Okay, so you see that it has that date on it. That's a key to making a positive affirmation. Okay, always put a date that you're wanting to achieve your goal, whatever it is. Again, this is being a director of a strong and growing team that I'm proud to lead. If it's on August 1st, my paycheck is enough to not only support my mortgage payment, but to buy me a Starbucks every day. Whatever that is that really sets your why on fire. Put that target date with it and turn it into your affirmation, something that you can repeat, okay? All right, be thinking about those. And I want all of you, one of your little homework assignments is I want you to post what your positive affirmation is that you come up with. I want you to post that in our group all week this week, okay? Awesome. Go ahead and flip it to that next slide for me, Miss Melody. Okay, awesome. So our first training segment for tonight, we're going to roll right into it, is bookings at parties. Okay? Bookings at parties. More than 80% of Pampered Chef parties, 80%, you guys, you read that? It's a big chunk right there, are booked with people that you meet at parties. Parties are the most efficient place for you to fill your calendar, okay? Your goal is to set an average of getting 3 bookings at every party. Keeps going to the next one. Host coaching is one of the most important elements of successfully securing bookings at parties. By creating a partnership with your host, you'll find success in sales, bookings, and recruiting. It is the most important part of getting all 3 of those. You've heard us all say it. Host coaching is where you make your paycheck. The party is where you pick it up. Okay, that's where you got to invest that time. Okay, that's where you're gonna be getting the higher sales. That's where you're gonna be getting the bookings and the recruitings, because you're creating that relationship with your hosts. All right. So let's kind of talk about other things that you can do to get bookings at your party. So we know host coaching, super important. Melody has an amazing training that she does every week. She just did one that's got some great tips on host coaching. So make sure you really tune into that if you have not heard her host coaching tips before, okay? But here's some just extra little tidbits I wanted to share to just top tips on how to get bookings at parties, okay? So, of course, encouraging your host to be actively involved, featuring those power tools, because that's what's going to make, they're going to see that power tool, and then they're going to want to get that at a discount, right? So they're just as important as sharing the smaller items as well, creating a desire for those power tools, okay? Sharing all the benefits of hosting at every party and every lead, okay? Making sure that you are inviting everyone to host during the checkout. And that can look all kinds of different ways. In home parties, of course, you do a checkout because you see them one-on-one. Virtual parties, there are lots of ways you can still do that checkout process. When they order, you can text them and tell them, thank you for ordering, how are you enjoying the party? Or that could be sending them a message on Facebook. There's lots of different ways that you can still have that communication when they check out at the party, even if it's virtual, okay? Sharing what the different host specials are, but also what the different themes are. Right now we're sharing lots of summer recipes. That's going to interest people, and that's going to pique their desire as well, okay? Having a drawing slip at the end of parties, that's another great way to collect information. Of course, encouraging your host, giving them those challenges to help you secure those bookings, because of course they know their friends better than you, right? And of course, inviting all of your customers and hosts to join a VIP Facebook group that you have on social media or Instagram or whatever you prefer to use. That way that even after the party, they're still coming to you for tips and tricks and advice and all of that. And you're keeping all of those tips above in the forefront of their mind even after the party, okay? Let's see. Click on the next slide, please, Miss Melody. Awesome, okay. You're going to continue to create interest using those booking images that are in marketing imagery are great tools to use if you're looking for images that would entice people to book a party. Of course, going live in your parties with a recipe that features a power tool, having your host share their favorite products, or letting guests know if you do a post that says, what product would you get at 50% off? Or what's the #1 item on your wish list? Letting them know, especially if they comment and say, I would love that, but, it's not my budget right now. Or, man, I wish I could get that too. Hello, you should totally host a party, girl. You would be great at this. Even if they don't end up hosting a party, find something that you can be encouraging them for, giving them those compliments, letting them know that they were a rock star. It's going to build their confidence, whether they book a party or remain one of your customers. You're building that relationship and you're building up that person as well. Okay. So here's some examples right here. I'm going to go ahead and give you the verbiage right there. Take a screenshot if you want, but we'll also have these posted in the group afterwards as well. So right here, you can thank you for your order. You're a rock star party guest. You're commenting and participating. Notice that first time I message, I'm just complimenting. I'm building them up. I might follow up with a question. I'm going to interact with them. And then when we get that feedback, that going back and forth, usually on the second to last day of the party, that's when I'm sending this, you are a rock star. I'm sure you've got lots of those products still on your wish list. I've got a quick question for you. Have you ever thought about hosting your own online party? Can I help you earn all of those things on your wish list for a discount? You just, you built that relationship, you end it in a question, and you just really work on follow up, okay? It's key. Usually, Melody can probably tell you the same thing. I get the most yeses, or at least, get back to me in 3 or 4 months. I get those on the 3rd or 4th response. If I only sent them one message and ended it there, I would probably have 50% less bookings or more. It's that important to follow up. So make sure those trackers you guys have been using for your contacts, make sure that you're marking on them how many times you've touched base with them and reached out to them, to make sure it's not just one and done, and then you give them a chance to follow up. Because really that's what makes us different than Amazon, right? Is we care enough to follow up and check back in with them later if they didn't respond right away. That's what makes us caring people, I say. Okay, you can flip to that next slide, Miss Melody. Thank you. I know it's teeny tiny, so don't worry. We'll post it in the group later as well. But this is just kind of a quick script I like to run through, because I know some of you have said, what do I do if they say no? Or what do I do, how do I follow up with them? That's great that you told me to say more than one thing, but what do I say, Kayla? Right here. Here's a perfect example of using using either a Google form survey mid-party, or just starting this conversation with them via Facebook Messenger. Whatever it is, you can see that that there's a way to have a back and forth. Okay, this is actually in the form of if you're using it as a survey, but you can picture how this would look if you were sending it back and forth with messages too. Okay, you're asking them, are you enjoying the party? Have you ever been interested in hosting your own? Are you interested in making money each month? And there's these cute little sayings that go with it. It's just really keeping it fun and light, okay? And again, don't forget that the host booking challenge is liquid gold. I know it's all over our team page. If you don't know what the host booking challenge is, where you encourage them to, to help get free bookings, whatever incentive you want to give with that, great. But sharing that at the host coaching at the beginning and the middle of the party and following up at the end, I'm telling you, it's key. I don't know how to get your 3 bookings if your host isn't on board with you. Okay, awesome. All right. Go ahead and click to that next slide, please. Oh, and leave it right there. Before we jump into recruiting, does anyone have any quick tips or questions that they would like to ask about the booking app parties, or tips that they want to share that have been successful for them?
I just shared in the new consultant training tonight. And you guys can look at the recording of it later if you want. But I just went through and showed the new consultants just a bunch of the same messages that I sent over and over and over again, just from people that were active in the party. And I showed them, just 10 messages, 10 different people and about, I think I got 4 or 5 bookings, and just not everyone said yes. Some people said I just had a party. Some people said no, not right now, you know, but then I still got 4 of them, you know. So just going through the rock stars, and that message is in the virtual party schedule that I'll post tomorrow. But just going through every single person that comments and is active in your party and sending the exact same message, that just really makes all the difference. And that's how I got every single booking this last week.
Hey, Melody.
Mhm.
So when you are sending these messages, is it just like on a whim, you know, you're bored on a Saturday and you send them out? Or would you say there's like a specific, like, do you say, okay, on Thursday, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z? Would you just touch base just on that little bit right there for me?
Mariana already knows the answer to this. So anyone that's been in my new consultant training should know the answer to this, because I'm very intentional in what day I do what and what day I send messages. And that's all in that virtual party schedule. So I'll post again that tomorrow with the recorder. I may even do it tonight because I've already got the recording downloaded. But when I started being intentional of what days I was actually doing it on, that's when it changed my business. So when you guys see me post the recording for that, check out the very end. Check out the different messages that I'm sending and their responses, and go into that virtual party schedule and copy that wording. I'm also going to share, like I shared it the other day, the screenshot of it, but I'm going to share the Microsoft Word document where it gives a checklist of exactly what I do every day. And you can go in and change stuff that way too. But that really helps me know, when am I sending out these messages and did I do it already? So just being intentional is so much of your success when it comes to recruiting and bookings.
Bingo. Bingo. And Bingo was his name. Oh, sorry. I have 2 small children. I can't help it. So what I noticed with what she said too, going back to what our 2 big fear examples were. Number 1 is you know, fear of time. Am I going to have enough time to balance this all? And what I would say is the key to that is what Melody just shared. If you just go ahead and pencil in on your calendar specific activities that you're going to do each day, and go ahead and pencil in specific activities you want to do with your family too. You're going to know right then and there. Pick a day of the week, maybe Sunday, to go ahead and pencil in that next week. It'll only take you, what, maybe 15, 20 minutes to sit down and do that. What a sense of relief you would have for the next week, knowing exactly what you're going to do each day, and knowing that you've got time set aside for, you know, for your family, for doctor's appointments, for children, for whatever you have, you know, put it on the calendar. It's really super important that you allow that time, and always give yourself, I say, a 10-minute buffer as well between activities that you schedule. Okay. And the other example fear was, you know, what if I get no's, or what if my personality isn't the right one? If you will just commit to, okay, for 1 week, I'm going to try this schedule. And for 1 week, I'm going to, on this day, send this booking message, and this day, and just encourage people behind the scenes and see how it goes. And track how many people you are touching base with and see what the results are. It's the only way to know. It really is. And that way you will know, okay, if I contact this many people, I will get these results. I got this. All right. It really is a super important step that a lot of people skip. And it's what takes you from struggling on a day-to-day basis to getting in the rhythm and becoming a Melody Harper. So I highly recommend it. All right. Next training topic, we are perfectly on schedule, so we're just going to keep rolling, is we're going to roll into recruiting at parties. Oh, I will say real quick, you're fine, just leave it how it is, Melody. If you do want any extra follow-up on booking training, of course, watch the video that Melody has posted, but there's also an amazing party training task section on Dash. So if you haven't had a chance to complete that section on booking parties, it's fantastic. So that could be a really great thing you can put on your to-do list if you need some extra tips. Okay, recruiting at parties. When you focus on the 4+1, that's every recruit 1 person from every 4 parties you hold. It's key, guys. When you do that, you're going to need to identify the 3 to 5 recruit leads, right? You saw the graphic that I believe it's Angela shared last week, and she broke down how we get those numbers. And she showed you with 4 parties, you're interacting with this many people, and that there are this many leads from that group of people. That's exactly where you get to that. But okay, you got to know who those people are, right? I promise you, at every single party, there's a recruit. The question is there a recruiter? Is that recruiter, meaning you, showing up to the party? Are they asking? Okay? Because you never know if they've been thinking about it, but when you didn't ask them, if that just confirmed to them that you didn't think that they could do it. You know, like what if they were just waiting? You know, if she really thinks I could do this, I bet she'll ask me. I bet she'll ask if I've ever thought about doing it. But then when we don't ask them, maybe they have a fear that maybe I'm not good enough for this. So always ask. They won't get their feelings hurt by you telling them that you think that they're good enough to do this, you know? But they might get their feelings hurt if we don't ask. Oh, don't want that to happen, right? Okay. So the very first lead you have from every party is your host, right? And while your host is your #1 recruiting lead, hands down, right? You already know that they love Pampered Chef, they're hosting for you. You also want to identify guests who may also be interested in this opportunity. So let's talk about how you can identify potential new consultants at parties. Ask consultants, so I'm gonna, what our next step is we kind of want to share some ideas on who might be in your parties that could be potential recruits. We already said the host, right? I want some of you guys to jump on and share or comment in the chat and share maybe some ideas you have of who some other potential recruits might be inside your parties. Anyone think of anyone? Who sticks out to you that you think might be a recruiting lead inside your parties? 25 tickets for sharing. Amanda says, the first person to check the invite. Girl, yes. Those super excited first guests, they couldn't wait to click going. Let them know. Maybe even say like, whoop, whoop. You were 5 extra tickets for being one of the first rock stars to join, right? Exactly. Oh, those were going so fast I couldn't read them all. Let me go back over there. Let's see. Sarah says, anyone that is a rock star guest or comments multiple times, they say how much they love PC. Exactly. Okay. Anyone else want to share their ideas? Mel, you can go ahead and click the next slide. Thank you. Look, you guys are so on point right there. Those first guests, we're talking about guests who offer to help. If they're guests that, I always kind of tell my host, I say, you know, if you've got some friends or family members that you want to like give a little nudge to and be like, hey, make sure and participate in my party and get tickets. Like, you know, I tell them, go ahead and do that. No one wants to be the first one to comment, but if you go ahead and tell a couple of your friends, it's going to get the party started strong. Well, hello, I'm going to look at those first ones who are, you know, offering to help out, who are participating, who are having fun, right? And honestly, though, everyone is a potential consultant. That's why those posts that ask them, you know, ask me any questions about the business or doing a survey where they can privately fill it out and let you know if they're interested, you know, that reveals a lot. And a lot of times I lead with when I'm chatting with them behind the scenes. And I ask them, you know, have you ever thought about doing what I do? And sometimes that might be the first thing I ask them. And if their answer is no or maybe, and we start that conversation and I follow up after that with, well, why don't you host a party? Best of both worlds. You can kind of get a feel for it and see how we go. They've already maybe said, I don't know, let me think about it, to recruiting. And then I've got someone who's going to be really interested in hosting, and I can continue to show them the benefits of joining as we go through the host coaching process, okay? So be thinking about really marking down while you're tracking your active guests and parties, marking which of those guests are the ones that are engaging and are asking those kinds of questions or saying, you know, they might need that extra income, okay? So how to get the commitment, right? How do I take these 3 to 5 people that are in each of the parties and get them to commit, to be interested, right? So there's really 3 steps to recruiting, to getting the yes in parties, okay? Number 1 is going to be inform, and Melody, if you'll click that next slide. Yay, thank you. Number 1 is inform. Number 2 is invite, and number 3 is inquire. So let's look at inform, okay? And that's a great thing to write down too. I call them the 3 I's. You need the 3 I's to get a commitment. Number 1 is to inform. This is where you're sharing with the guests the benefits of the business. This is typically going to be your more fun and easygoing posts. We talked about the Ask Me Anything, the Q&A. Maybe the guessing game has something to do with the kit, or maybe the guessing game is your paycheck, or it can be all kinds of stuff. But also making sure that you're sharing your story in your parties. You're saying, this is why I joined, and this is why I stayed. Be watching as we go through this party and watching what I do, because I promise you that it's something that any of you can do. And at the end of it, you might want to reach out to me and see if this is something you'd want to do as well. Okay, so make sure you're sharing that too, and that you're really working that as well. Number 2 is going to be invite. And that's where you're going to invite guests to learn more. Remember, that's inviting them to the opportunity event. That's following up with them on private messages and inviting them to learn more. Okay, that's saying you do a guessing game where they either private message you the answer, or there's some kind of interaction, and you message back and say, thanks for playing. Are you having a good time at the party? And you're interacting with them, and you invite them. You say, have you ever thought about doing Pampered Chef before? Okay, you're looking and listening for the signs. Okay, you're looking for the green flags. I like to call them the green flags. Are they engaging? Are they interacting? Are they asking questions? Okay, and again, if they interacted and you couldn't get them to commit to a booking or to join your team, make sure that they either join your VIP group or they join the opportunity event. Okay, all you gotta do is send them the link to that, and and welcome them to join. Okay, number 3 is inquire. This is where you're going to inquire about any questions guests may have about the business. This is when you're looking to see, have they looked at your website? What questions do they have? What appeals to them about joining Pampered Chef? What kit would they choose? Posting that picture of the kit and say, these 3 kits are awesome. Which one would you pick? Or, if you were going to get started in this business, which level would you be? A 1, 2, 3, or 4? Super simple, short. You're just wanting to kind of inquire. Okay, and that's when you say something like, Taylor, you've been on my mind. I know you mentioned your current work-life balance was feeling out of control, and you're really looking for a change in your job. I think Pampered Chef could be a good fit for you. Here's why. It could be that flexible job for you that fits around. I've been there. That's what I needed. What if you could still do something you love with a flexible income that lets you spend more time with your family? I'd love to tell you more. Is that something, can I invite you to the opportunity event that we're having on Sunday? We're even giving away prizes. Super simple, guys, okay? If they aren't sure, they don't respond, that's when you can say, if you have any more questions, be sure to check out my website. I'd love to help you in any way that I can, okay? Or you can say, hey, make sure, let me know if you got this message, because it's 10 tickets for every extra question you ask in private messaging. I love that one, because then they're like, oh, let me respond real quick with some more questions. I love those fake tickets you give. That's why it's so important you're doing these follow-ups during your party, so that you can give them the fake tickets to earn at the party too, okay? Not everyone's gonna say yes though, guys. It's very important that you're intentional with follow-up, and that you're keeping track of your potential recruits, and that you're reaching out to enough of them so that you will get some that are interested, all right? Because that's the thing is if you're only asking just the hosts, or you're only doing maybe 1 or 2 parties a month, you may not be reaching enough people to get your 2 recruits a month or more. So keep that in mind too, okay? All right, perfect timing. Well, that's not true. We went 1 minute over. So let me wrap this up real quick. Again, Melody Post has all those really great recruiting posts as well in the outline that she shares, and that virtual party success Evernote that she shares as well. So if you need any help finding those, let us know. We can post them in there. I want to see if anyone has any specific questions or comments that they would like to share about the recruiting training at parties that we talked about tonight, and then we'll jump into your call to action. So anyone want to jump on? Any questions you have specifically about recruiting at parties, or anything that you want to share, something that you've tried that's worked for you?
If I have a question, if you ask somebody to you know about joining, and then they say no, is it okay to ask them if they would like to host a party, or is that too much?
That's a great question, Holly. Melody might want to follow up too, but I would want to know exactly, you know, if it was just no, that's one thing. But you know, if it was anything else, like I'm not sure if the timing's right. You know, there's a lot you can do with what the response is. So just for an example, if they said, if you know, you say, you were an amazing rock star guest, have you ever thought about doing what I do? Or you had some amazing questions on my Q&A post. Have you ever thought about doing what I do? Let's say they say, no, you know, I'm just super busy. I don't know. I would say, hey girl, totally get that. Hashtag, you know, homeschooling mom, or hashtag pulling my hair out. You know, what would you believe it or not that I actually scheduled all those posts that were in the party? And I actually work this around where I'm only on my phone for a few minutes a day. Would a business that was flexible be something you'd be interested in? Or you could say, what does your schedule look like? And maybe we can see if that would be something that would work for you. Or what interests you most in PC? If they're giving you something like an objection, like my schedule, work with it. If you don't know what to say, we do have a what to say to objections cute little list you can look at. But my go-to for new ones is always, you know, hey, I'm learning all about this business and really loving it. Would you mind sharing with me what's holding you back? And just ask them what's holding them back. Just be honest. Like, I'm learning. I'm loving learning all about this business. Would you mind sharing what's holding you back? And then if you don't know what to say, screenshot it to your director, screenshot it to us, put it in our Facebook group. And I promise you, in that fast track group, you're going to get some amazing comments on what to say back and forth. Okay? Now, if they're like, heck no, I hate parties, then it's like, okay, well, I hope I can be your consultant, you know, for future purchases. Here's my VIP link, you know? But yeah, no, if you can keep that dialogue going and figure out what their fears are and keep that going, and you're not sure if you're going to seal the deal, absolutely say, you know, why don't you host a party? You're obviously great at this. And then you can kind of see more of how I do it and see if it would fit your schedule. You see how it's different from them saying no, thank you, and then maybe being like, okay, you want to host a party? Ask questions. I think that's the key. Melody unmuted. I'm guessing she was going to add something.
No, I was just going to say I had one of these this last month who she was interested in signing up, but then lost her job and, you know, no money, and she's, you know, scared about signing up, and, you know, so I suggested, hey, well, why don't we try a party first, and then we can go from there. And if you're interested, then we can help you do it after your party. And, you know, I'm going to talk to her about the kit credit, you know, and that stuff, because it is a money issue for her, but she was definitely willing. Where she said, I'm not sure about joining right now, she jumped full in and said, I absolutely host right now. And I'm going to talk with her more as a host, because once it's their party and once they see the success, then it's a lot easier to say, you know what, look at how many people would support your business. Look at how much your friends love Pampered Chef. And then, you know, even if they said no, they may see, wow, you're right. My friends do love Pampered Chef. Maybe I should think about doing this. And so some of those that say no, but host a party, may come back and say, okay, I'll go ahead and give it a try, because they see how much their friends would support their business. So.
True that. And not that people who join right away aren't fabulous. I love them too. I will say that to me, it is more of a natural progression for, for if they're kind of interested, and then they host and you're sharing about the business from the beginning to the end. Then they've had the chance to see your party as a guest. They see the party as a host. You've had 2 parties to build their confidence. So by the time that you finish their party as the host, you've had twice as much time to build their confidence and seal the deal on them becoming a consultant. And then sometimes they're even stronger just because they've been able to see more of it. Now, if you've got someone who's like, I'm ready to join, I'm not going to be like, pump the brakes, you need to host first. I'm not going to do that. But, I'll talk through any fears that they have beforehand, but I don't see anything wrong with continuing that conversation as they host a party. It really, I feel, seals the deal. And in fact,
I've had some people that I've contacted to join, saying that they were really active in the party and they'd be good at it. And then they say no. And then I said, well, would you like to host a party? And then it's like a no. So I don't know. I was trying to think of a way to kind of get around the double no. You know what I mean?
And is there anything you picked up from our tips that you feel like is the way to get around the double no?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit.
No, it's okay. I'll be more clear because I know my internet's pretty crappy. The way I get around it, and I'd love to hear if you picked up anything different from our tips, is to ask questions, to ask them questions and get them talking so that I can figure out what that no means to them.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So maybe that can kind of break it up and give you more background, because it could be a million things. And on that same note, I was just trying to pull back up, but it wouldn't pull up. Was it Amanda? Was it you that you were saying your friend wanted to join? I'm trying to pull up chat. There it goes. Yeah, Amanda said in the chat, my best friend's weird. I get you, Amanda. She's been commenting, wanting to join for months. My upline did her party and she was interested then. And then I signed up and now she's asking me and commenting other parties, tells me to look at taxes. Okay, that would be a perfect example, if you're comfortable, taking a screenshot of whatever this last conversation that you had with her was, where she mentioned taxes, and posting that in our Fast Track to Success Facebook group, because that's something where you can say, okay, that's one of those, I think my butt looks big in the jeans kind of a thing. We can work with that. Because, it could be taxes. Most of the time that's just code for, my husband's not sure about it, or you joined, so now I don't know. But I will say, I attended a party. I almost didn't go. This is my first Pampered Chef party ever. Melody Harper was the consultant, and my dear friend was the host. And it was fun. I was like, I don't know anything about direct sales, but this would be fun. And I looked over at my host and I said, because she used to be a consultant, I said, why did you stop? She goes, I don't know. And I ended up signing, and she didn't right away. And I'm reading my little handbook, and it says, you just joined. Invite a friend that you think would be great at this, and you guys can learn it along together. I'm like, okay. And so I did. I reached out to her. I was like, you should join up beside me. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we can totally learn this together. And you were better at this than I was. I mean, you got me to come to your party, didn't you? And yeah, she had some apprehensions. Guess what? I was like, talk to Melody. She's amazing. Anyways, I sent screenshots to Melody, and Melody helped me with what to say. And she ended up being my first recruit. And she's still on my team today. Wow. And of course, friends are awkward. Sometimes they can, it's weird. But don't ever feel like you can't reach out and ask someone else, in your upline or within us directors, because we've probably come across it too. And maybe we can help you with some strategies on some words to say. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
I know we've gone over, and your time is super precious to me. So if we have any last minute questions, go ahead and get them in real quick so we can wrap up our training. Anyone else?
Kayla,
Yeah.
Kayla, it's Molly. I noticed that some of my people that I've asked about consulting, and when I get the no, I turn around and try and ask them to host a party. I've noticed one thing that I've had to explain is the difference between consulting and hosting, because I'll get that second no, and then I'll ask them, do you mind me asking why? Do you realize that hosting is what, for example, the girl that I just signed in, I'll just use her name, Whitney. I was like, do you realize hosting is what Whitney just did? You don't have to sell anything. You don't have to do much. Just ask you to comment and post and da-da-da-da. And then that's usually I can get them to agree to host a party after that. So one way to get away from that second no is to make sure they understand hosting is not the same as signing up to sell.
So true on so many levels. I have had hosts or potential recruits, potential hosts say, but how much does it cost for me to, like, they think they're paying, like I am a service that they pay for. And I get that often, like still today with as many people have Pampered Chef part, they still, and if I would not have done exactly what Molly did and asked, what's holding them back, or, ask I'm telling you, your mind will be blown with what sometimes people misconstrue as what hosting is, or what the expectations are, or whatever. So love that. Thank you for sharing, Molly. Okay. Any other questions? I want you to go ahead and post them in the Facebook group, because again, I really want to honor that time. Melody, if you'll click over for the you turned it off. Did you turn it off? Oh, there it is. Okay. Go turn to that last screen for me. This is your call to action. It's my favorite part. Okay, so here's what the tasks we're going to have between now and our next call. Don't forget to schedule your chat time with your director. That is the most important thing you can do, is to make sure that you have your weekly check-in call with your director. If they haven't reached out to you, it's your responsibility to be like, girlfriend, it's time for us to talk. Make sure that they're doing it with you, okay? And I want you to continue making your contacts. Of course, you're 30 if you haven't got your calendar filled where you want, but if you've got it back where you'd like it to be, you can go down to your 10, but make sure you're still doing your contacts, okay, every day. Go ahead, and if you haven't practiced writing out your story, go ahead and do that. Post the video. We would love to be able to share those and have examples to go off of, because we can always learn something from each other. So don't feel embarrassed. Don't do what I did the first time and make 30, no joke, 30 videos until I had the one I thought was perfect to post in my party. I'm telling people love authentic, real people. So don't stress about it. Just be you, be fun. You can use the script if you want, but it's just your intro, introducing yourself, okay? Make sure, make your list of things that you've learned in this session, what your takeaway is, and of course, keep adding names to your contact list, and I'll post a coffee talk as well for us to follow up with, okay? Thank you guys so much for being on this call, for being so active. I'm really excited to see how you implement all of these tasks and really grow your business. And keep it up, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Bye.